Today, I'm happy to spend some time with Lauren Kay, President of the California Foundation for Commerce and Education with the Cal Chamber. Lauren Kay was appointed president of the foundation in January 2006. He's devoted his career to developing, analyzing, and implementing public policy issues in California, with a special emphasis on improving the state's business and economic climate. He was also a gubernatorial appointee to the state's Little Hoover Commission, which is charged with evaluating the efficiency and effectiveness of state agencies and programs. He served in senior policy positions for Governors Pete Wilson and George Deukmejian, including Cabinet Secretary to the Governor and Undersecretary of the California Trade and Commerce Agency.
First of all, Sujin, I just want to say how honored I am to be participating in this discussion, and congratulations on the 10th year anniversary of your organization. It's a great organization and a real addition to the public policy debate in California. So I'm hoping you have many more decade anniversaries to come.
Many of us are familiar with the California Chamber, but aren't as familiar with the California Foundation for Commerce and Education. Can you talk a little bit about what this organization is and its relationship to Cal Chamber?
CFCE is a 501c3 that's affiliated with Cal Chamber. So we are more or less the think tank or the policy foundation for Cal Chamber. We do research and education on a wide variety of issues related to the business climate, taxes, regulations, transportation, just go down the list, and education.
What is Cal Chamber's top priority when it comes to higher education?
We think it's our job to stick up for higher education's funding, for their resources. When it comes to the state budget, there's a lot of competition for the dollars that higher education competes for. So we want to stick up for that, and we also want to ensure that that they're not only well resourced, but in particular there are resources to ensure access to higher education.
From healthcare to tech to any number of other industries, California businesses worry about pipeline issues, and the COVID-19 pandemic has only exacerbated those concerns. How do we bridge those gaps between talent pools and workforce demands?
This is a bias because I'm speaking for employers, but I think it's an educated bias, that the employers are at the center of the they are the client. They're at the receiving end of the talent pipeline. And the pipeline can't operate unless the end client gets what it needs. And so the talent providers need to be more structured and more curious and more informed on what the needs of the employers are.
Do you have a sense of how that could happen?
The talent providers have to understand that while they're really good at bringing along their clients, their students, or their workers, whoever it may be, they don't have the insight on what the jobs of the future, or even necessarily the jobs of the really near, just not quite present, are, or what the skills are, what they should be. Even if they know in theory what the jobs are, well, what are the skills that are going to be part of those jobs, and what and those can be, that's obviously, those can be very dynamic, and it requires them to be obviously quite agile in what they teach, but they just won't be, the system won't be successful if the talent providers insist on saying, hey, we've taught, we've got a whole cohort of students ready to take these jobs, and it's not the jobs the employers want.
Cal Chamber has been supportive of the need to improve diversity and opportunity in California's public workforce and educational institutions with its support of Prop 16. Can you talk about how the Chamber came to this position and how your organization is approaching racial justice work and closing equity gaps?
Yes, really glad you asked this. It's obvious that California still suffers from profound racial disparities and opportunity gaps. We've made, a huge amount of progress over the years, and especially when it comes to eliminating official barriers and, a lot of the cultural barriers. But the overhang from years of discrimination and wealth disparities, communities that struggle with um, intergenerational poverty, social breakdowns, all of that is still with us. For business operators and owners, education disparities and failures are an existential issue.
Where do you see higher education fitting into our state's economic recovery? Does it differ by region or industry at all?
The function of higher education in providing skilled and educated graduates, uh, and to the extent they stay in California, that is, as I've said earlier, that's just absolutely critical to our future prosperity and to social cohesion. So I don't think there's there's really nothing to replace that.
Thank you, Lauren, for spending this time with us today. We really appreciate your leadership at Cal Chamber and your focus and vision for higher ed and its role in supporting our state's economy, and also leading around racial equity and equity to make sure that all Californians have access to good jobs and can help our state, remain a global leader.
Great, thank you. It's been my pleasure, and good luck to California Competes and yourself in the next year to come.